it works out to $359 billion per year. Just imagine what our U.S. economy could do if we could somehow inject $359 billion worth of productivity into our economy. We also know from the research that about 85% of the employees say that they experience conflict at work. My friend and co-author Tim Scudder often says the other 15% were lying, because we all experience conflict at work from time to time.
First of all, I think that some people really have a fear of conflict, but what you advocate is you don't have to be afraid of it, you just need to know how to navigate through it.
Exactly. And actually conflict can be a source of productivity. You know, if you've been in a conflict with someone and you resolve it well, you think, wow, we're actually stronger now. We made it through, we have a better relationship. And conflict is normal. You know, I think a lot of people, they want to avoid conflict, but we like to say that we can prevent it. Right? That we can actually stop it from happening.
And that's one of the 5 steps that you teach, that sometimes there are ways that you can actually prevent conflict.
Conflict is about a threat to self-worth, and anything that shows up as conflict, be it assertive or analytical or accommodating, it all speaks to what matters to that person behind it.
My self-worth is being put at risk, in my opinion, and so my motivation changes in that moment. I'm going into protection mode. Do you like to smooth things over and make it okay? Do you want to pull back and think about it a little bit, analyze, or do you want to just address the situation, rise to the challenge, deal with it in the moment?
I know you've heard it before. Can't we all just get along? Well, it is true, and we have an expert today that is going to help us prevent everyday conflicts from ruining our lives. Dr. Michael Patterson, he is the co-author of a new book, Have a Nice Conflict. Well, when I think conflict, like already, I think my heart starts to race, because I am one of those people, I don't like conflict, and is everybody like me, or how do people deal with conflict?
Well, there are really 3 basic ways that people approach conflict, and in Have a Nice Conflict, we teach people how to identify those ways. Some people are like you, they'll probably try to accommodate and make everything okay.
Right.
Other people will step up and want to be very assertive, deal with the issue right then and there, and others want to step back a little bit and analyze the situation before moving on to deal with it.
So they're really going to think about it. It's not that they're not going to deal with it, but they want to make sure that they're going to get one chance to make it all better.
We all process conflict differently and deal with conflict differently. That's why it's so important to really understand it in order to be able to prevent it first. And if you can't prevent it, manage it.
Okay. It's a great story.
It is a story. You know, our company has been teaching people how to have nice conflicts and build strong relationships in corporate training workshops and classrooms for 40 years. So we wanted to find a way to share these powerful ideas with a broader audience, people who don't get to come to a corporate training workshop. So we put it in the form of a story. We know stories teach in a powerful way. They're more interesting than textbooks or how-to books.
Knowing the motivation behind behavior is the key to understanding yourself and others. When you know what's important to people, you can more accurately interpret their actions and words and choose better approaches in your communication. Think of behavior like a buoy floating on the water. The buoy appears to float on its own, rising with the waves, moving with the current. But we all know that the buoy is connected to an anchor. That anchor is like your motivation or your core values.
And to understand conflict, we need to understand the motivation behind it, the motives that drive all of us, and it begins with understanding the universal motive for all of us. We all want to experience a sense of self-worth. And so anticipating conflict is about getting to know the people you're working with, what they value, how they like to operate, because when you do that, you can recognize what's important to them, and if that thing that is important to them is violated or restricted, that could be a conflict trigger for that person.